Yesterday, Nasik used the term um, in laying out this, his subject, the profundity of scientific social engineering of inverted energy. Again, he used these particular terms related to inversion. And he got to one term in particular. I had mentioned, the word integer that we were introduced to, but he introduced one term, and this is where I'll begin. This term repudiate, because for me, and I'm going to attempt to show you how this relates to everything. It relates to the overall. Um, it goes back once you study it and once you break it down. It goes back to when we uh, fell into duality. We fell into separateness. We fell into right brain, right hand, left brain, left hand, right or left, hot or cold, good or evil. This term repudiate, it's a verb. It's a verb. And it means to cast off by divorce. To
Yep.
cast off by divorce. And this is very important when it comes to the divine feminine, because this is exactly the process that happened. We divorced our other half energetically.
Come on, Eitai. Come on with it.
And this is where the problems really began in earnest. And Nasi laid this out in the timeline. And the critical time period, Nasi, was from the early to mid 1500s to 1611 to
Mm-hmm.
1611,
Mm-hmm.
where the
Yes.
King James Bible,
Uh-huh.
that whole thing came online. That whole thing came online and entered into the the collective consciousness. Now, see,
Right.
the collective consciousness. So in 1540, this term repudiate was defined as to cast off by divorce. Now, when we think of repudiate,
Right.
we think of arguing with someone, you know,
Right.
and making a counterpoint to their point. Well, absolutely. The reason that we do it is because you're yin and I'm yang.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're
Right.
right brain and I'm left brain. But it goes
Mm-hmm.
Right.
back to this process that took place, Nasik, in real time.
Right, Eitai.
That took place in real time, where we finally, family, gave the bill of divorcement
There it is, Eitai.
to the
We go
divine.
right to the scriptures and verify it.
we serve
Wow.
we serve papers on the divine feminine was served papers, family,
Yes.
was given a bill of divorcement. Now, again, I'm using a biblical term, and we're gonna go to that.
Go
Uh,
ahead, Eitai. Come on with it.
but it's critical that we get this, because
Mm-hmm.
this goes to the root of our difficulty attaining wholeness, ascending back into wholeness, ascending levels of consciousness, and reaching these points. So we just want you to feel this, family. The term
Yes.
repudiate means to cast off by divorce. Now, this is going to fit and flow right into what it is that we've been talking about. See, now Seek and I are not at odds. in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we certainly don't see it that way, but I'm sure that if you're still influenced by duality, you can't make the connection.
Right.
Right.
Again, again, it's difficult to make the connections. I won't say that you can't, but it's difficult. It takes a little time. So we get it. So we're gonna be patient and walk everyone through this because it's our goal to be, Genesis 1:11, one intent, one language, look, one
Mm-hmm.
purpose, and guess what? Nothing that we endeavor to do will be withheld
Right.
from us.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we attacking this on all fronts.
No question.
Yes.
So this term repudiate, uh, write down the word PUDI or PUDIA, pudia. All right, write down the word pudia. This is going to lead us right in, family. This is what our ancestors have done to us. They
Yes.
invented,
Yes. Right.
they invented language.
Right. Right.
And they brilliantly hid our story in this in every detail imaginable. So this word repudiate from the 1540s was defined as to cast off by divorce. All right. And it's from the Latin repudiatus or repudiare, to cast off, to put away, to divorce, to reject, to scorn, to disdain. It's from repudium, divorce, rejection, putting away, and dissolution of marriage. Dissolution of marriage. Write down that word dissolution. That's an alchemical term. That's an alchemical term, family. That's a chemical term. Don't you dissolve in
Mm-hmm.
chemistry?
Yes.
Don't you use different solutions?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you do.
Now, here we go. It's from re, R-E, meaning back, away, and pudium, Pudium.
Right.
Watch the slick stuff. They say which is probably related to pes or ped, meaning foot. Now let's stop. That we know that foot
Yes.
relates to what?
Yes.
The
Come on,
young
Eitai.
and the
Mm-hmm.
male and female reproductive power. Am I not correct?
You correct.
Absolutely.
So keep that in mind because this is going to allow us to flow right into and pick up the study from the standpoint. I never really stopped when Nasik started. I'm just showing y'all that. But all of this stuff flows together. We're just attacking it at different critical areas.
Hmm.
If this is so, the original notion may be of kicking something away. Don't we say, I kicked her to the curb?
Yeah.
Come on, Shells. Come on,
And,
Shells.
and when we get back together, we starting to reconcile. I say, yeah, we kicking it. We
Yep.
started kicking
Mm-hmm.
it again.
We started to kick it
Right.
there.
And then everything is related to the foot. And then when we really back together, yeah, we knocking boots. It's in us, family. It's in us.
Yes.
Yeah, we laugh, but it's in us.
Mm-hmm.
This science is in us. It's even in
Mm-hmm.
our slang. That's why I say it's no bad language.
Yes.
There ain't no bad language. There's no profanity. The only profanity and evil on this planet is duality.
Mm-hmm.
That's profanity.
That's the only profane thing here. Our separation,
Yes.
our diversity with Nasi, with the ignorance of holism.
Right.
That's the only profane thing. That's the only profane existence. It says the original notion may be of kicking something away, but folk etymology commonly connects it to pudere, causing shame to. See, it's this word we went over, pudendum. Pudendum, family, referring to the foot or the external sex organs or genitals.
Right. Right.
This marriage is a very important symbolism.
Yes.
And, again, we're on the subject, the marriage of Cana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. We have not left the subject.
Eitai, this is so.
We haven't left
Wow.
the subject, family. We have not left the subject. But duality and separation, the fact that you have not reconciled with the feminine energy, you have not reconciled with wholeness. This
Mm-hmm.
is what makes it difficult. And like Nasik said, you at odds with everything,
Yes.
even the information that makes you whole.
Mm-hmm.
That's something else.
Now that's something else, ain't
That's something else.
it? Now, if that ain't perfection, then I mean, that's perfection at the highest level there.
At the highest level. When we look at the central word or the essence of repudiate, it's in this word pudendum, and we've just gone over this. This is the word translated foot in the Hebrew. We won't go back over it, but check back through your notes. And just like in repudiate, they say, something that causes shame. It says here, a thing to be ashamed of, pudere, to make ashamed. So, Nasik, this is at the center of this.
Yes, it does.
Shame, family, shame it is an emotion, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a level of consciousness. It's a
Mm-hmm.
category. Now watch where it is. Though. Watch where it is on the chart. Dead bottom.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
The lowest you can get. And we can allow the fact that we are having difficulty with this.
Right.
The difficulty would cause us to be ashamed.
Yes. Come on, Shells.
Eitai, this is really something because Nazar called me afterward and we talked.
I know, Nasik. Go ahead.
This is really something, and family, give your undivided attention today because if you get an inkling of this here and you wake up tomorrow, I guarantee you, you will begin to see the Bible, your relationship to it, your relationship to all things completely different, henceforth,
Yes.
forevermore.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Please, you will, I'm telling you.
Yes.
As he's talking, all kind of things is beginning to connect now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Profound, man.
Very profound. We in a new world, family.
No question.
But we told you about this months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Nasik and I would arrive first. Didn't we say that?
Mm-hmm.
We got the light on and the door open for us.
Yes.
We waiting, and because we know because it happened for us, it's gonna happen for you.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed if you don't know something. Don't be ashamed. That's low level.
That's
Yes.
low.
Yes.
Low that's low vibratory. Speak up.
Mm-hmm.
Speak up.
Mm-hmm.
You with your family.
Yes.
We trying to get you on the mothership, not put you off.
Right.
So we want to understand all these things and understand them and stand on them. This refers to the external genitals. All of this is related. How is this related to marriage? We're attempting, all of us, to merge what was once whole and then separated, Nasik, at a particular time in history where we were separated dramatically from the the feminine, our feminine aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, sir.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That was inverted. That was
Yes.
inverted. What was originally the feminine became male, and the male became feminine. We went through it. We got turned inside out,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and the work is to convert that condition and to bring back what was divorced, what was put away, what was separated, what was cast out, to bring it back into wholeness. And we have to take a bottoms up approach in that. We got to come,
Yes.
we have to understand we done fell into physicality.
Mm-hmm.
When you opened up your eyes in this world, you came out of your mother's womb, you were in a profoundly physical condition. Now, see, dense as you can be.
Mm-hmm.
Best as we can be, right?
So we're going to explain this, and then we're going to move forward, family, to a greater understanding of how to, from a step by step process, solve this, to get charged back up, to get energized in the proper way. All right?
Come on now. Come on.
And we cannot be ashamed. We can't
Yes.
be ashamed during this process. Let's make today the last day that we're gonna fall into the absolute. You done fell into the abyss once you become ashamed or
Mm-hmm.
self-conscious about something. Now, see,
Right.
self-conscious about something. Come on, we all family. We all had to go through
Yes.
this process,
Yes.
and we all gonna solve it, family. We all gonna solve it, and we're gonna help one another out. So I woke up the other day, prior to, I knew Nasik had something because I had gotten something. That's how it works. So, and I was I was thinking in this, in these terms. I got up contemplating, and look, I don't even know if I go to sleep at night, family. I really don't. That my I mean, I'm computing and putting things together all night, all night, all
Mm-hmm.
night.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wake up with is, I've learned to write that down now. And what they were telling me, it's related to what I just said, that when we opened our eyes in this world, we were in a profoundly uh, physical, material, dense form. We opened our eyes and we were dense. Are you all with me? In every way.
Can shows.
Energetically, we were slowed completely down.
Mm-hmm.
Intellectually, closed completely down. Consciously, closed completely down. So I woke up with this thought and really teaching myself about this term from the crown of the head to the sole of the feet. Now remember, this term pudendum, relating to the foot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the sexual organs. This is very, very important. Let me ask y'all something. When you come out of your mother's womb, is it head first, crown first, or foot first?
Head first.
Head first, crown first. All right. So that's top down. We came from the top down. All right. We fell from the throne, from divinity. And in order to arise, walk with me now, we start from the bottom up. Like Muhammad Ali and them used to say, we go from the root to the fruit. All right, write that
Mm-hmm.
down. From the root to the fruit. We know all this stuff. We just have to be refamiliarized with it. We have to be reacquainted with these terms. So this term, family, expresses and defines the outer extremity from top to bottom, the outer extremities of our physical material dimension. It defines or illustrates the lower dimension in which or to which our divinity has been confined and limited. We all prisoners.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We all
Yes.
Yes.
captive.
Mm-hmm.
Melanin, listen, melanin, that is neuromelanin and eumelanin, is the only physical material substance, quote unquote, that connects us to our divinity. Walk with me now. Melanin, now, is melanin in the crowns of our head?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it in our feet?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. It is the only physical material, quote unquote, substance that connects us to our divinity. That is our divine higher self and our divine higher consciousness and power. Now, just follow me. Here we go. Melanin, neuromelanin, and eumelanin is the only substance that connects us to God, our divinity, and divine power. Are you all with me?
Yes.
Melanin is the chemical key to life and all living things. It is the powerful dark matter consciousness that connects us all to creation, and connects us all with one another and our divine natures. melanin is important because it's the most primitive and universal pigment in all living organisms. Melanin is abundantly present within each and every living organ, which aids the human body. It is a superconductor. It always stays charged when it's exposed to things such as light, sound, and color. Also, this holistic language, holistic information. Are you all
Mm-hmm.
with me?
Okay.
Melanin can actually absorb the full energetic spectrum, rather, and
Oh,
charge
right.
itself to a brand new level. This is what we're endeavoring to do, family. Romans 8, 3, and then 5 through 9. Listen, and I'm going to interpret as we go along. God, that is the higher or heavenly self, divine power, sending his own son, the human, our
Mm-hmm.
earthly self,
Mm-hmm.
the likeness of sinful flesh, in the likeness of sinful flesh, dualistic flesh. That's what
Yes.
sinful means. Man and woman
Right.
created he them. This wasn't always so, family. But
Right.
when we became, we were androgynous at one point, then we fell into what? Duality, gender,
Mm-hmm.
and it progressed down to our current state of density, sending his son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, the flaw or dualistic human nature, condemns sin, duality in the flesh. That's what we're doing. We are playing the Christ right now.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
For they that are after the flesh, that means profoundly human, material, and finite, do not mind the things of the flesh. We've all been there.
Okay.
We've all been there. But they that are of the spirit, divine, non-material, infinite, the things of the spirit. And we're attempting to get you to focus on the energetic nature, fully focus on the energetic nature of all things, or the so-called spiritual nature of all things. For to be carnally minded, and Nasik laid this out over the last couple of days, what to be exactly what carnally minded means, right? Earthly or material or dualistically minded is death.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never solve this thing.
Never.
Never.
And you're going to keep the little energy that you have is going to dissipate and dissipate and dissipate
Yes.
until what? You flatline.
No.
You flatline, and then
Right.
you're gonna be waking up again, mad as hell, falling
Uh, Come
falling
on.
into density again, trying to solve this thing all over again.
Mm-hmm.
But to be spiritually minded, heavenly or non-materially materially minded, is life and shalom, peace,
Yes.
wholeness, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because the carnal mind is enmity against your own divinity.
Uh-huh.
You're working
The
against
do
yourself,
uh-huh.
for it is not subject to the law of God. What is the law of God, everyone?
Mm,
Wholeness.
Wholeness.
absolutely.
Neither can it be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please God. That is, cannot activate, raise, or ascend to divinity, divine higher frequency and vibration.
Mm-hmm.
That word please is the word aresko, G142, Greek word. arresco, through the idea of exciting or activating high frequency emotion.
Yes.
This is what I'm instructing you step by step to do. Now, see, from a bottom up perspective,
Bottom up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and it is related to the word arrow or arrow, like we spell it AERO, arrow, like aeroplane, meaning to ascend, to rise, to elevate, lift up. I'm giving you the instructions on how to recognize your ascension vehicle. I'm showing you the pathway that it flies. It flies straight up and straight down. Look, when you look at, we're going to get to this, but I just thought of it. When it describes the carabine,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what we're going to talk about, it described them as flying straight in one direction. Watch this. I just thought of this. Ezekiel 1, we'll read the full chapter, where it describes where they were at the river of Kebar. Now keep this in mind. We're going to talk about the Caribbean, the Caribbean. This
Right.
term Kebar, that the heavens were open up. Look at this, now see. And I was among the captives.
I'm familiar with it.
I told you we all captives.
Yes.
By the river of Kebar. Now understand that that's going to relate to what I'm talking about, the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
The day of the month, which was the 5th year of Joachim's captivity. Write down the word 5 and put 5th element down there. Put 5th
Mm-hmm.
element. And then next to that, write ether and plasma. Ether and plasma. I'm going to show you how to excite your blood, to get your blood up, to
Right.
activate DNA.
Mm-hmm.
The word of the Lord came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldean by the river Kebar, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him. Right hand of God or hand of the Lord. See if all this stuff ain't related.
Absolutely, Philip.
And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north. Now, is the north related to the top or the bottom?
Uh-huh. That's why they
Come on.
in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
A great cloud, a great cloud, Nasi, and a fire enfolding itself,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof was the color of amber out of the midst of the fire. Follow me, family, follow me.
Mm-hmm.
Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures.
Right.
And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Every one had 4 faces. Every one had 4 wings. And their feet were straight feet,
Mm-hmm.
because they only walked the straight path.
Yes.
And the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot. And they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. Who else had feet like burnished brass?
Uh,
Melanated people.
That's
uh,
Christ. That's the Christ character, right?
Mm-hmm.
right.
Write the word hybrid down.
Hybrid.
Hybrid.
Mm.
Hybrid. Hybrid. I'm going to show you how this connects up now. See, everyone had 4 faces and 4 wings. Their feet were straight feet, and they had hands of a man under the wings on their 4 sides. And they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings joined one to another. Listen, they turned not when they went. They didn't go to the right, now see, or the left.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How did they go? They went everyone where? Straight forward. Are you all with me now?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Come on, Sales.
So this one,
Uh,
this it says the flesh cannot please God. Flesh cannot please God, meaning you can't excite this thing through the flesh only. You can't raise through the flesh. Now, the flesh, you can't, we are in the world, but we're not of the world. You can't
Yes.
deny the flesh now, see? This is what you were saying.
right.
Mm-hmm.
But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit that is divine. Keep this in mind, family. If it so be that the Spirit of God, activated melanin, dwells in you. Now, if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, divine enlightenment, activation, he is none of his. All right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now remember, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. Same was in the beginning with God, all things were made by him. It's talking about you now. And without
Yes.
you was not a thing made that was made.
Right.
In
From a raw family.
in you was life. Well, what is the life, family, that is in you?
Mm.
From a
Mm.
physical standpoint, we know that the blood contains life, right?
Right.
Okay.
Now, remember, we said this the other day. Follow me now. Let me find it. I'll come back to this. Remember, we talked about the menstrual fluid, right? Or the
Right.
menstrual blood, right? Rather, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the menstrual blood. Now I'm giving you all a bottoms up perspective. That's where you need to be. That's where we
Mm-hmm.
are.
That's where you are. Right.
And this is the way that our ancestors laid this thing out. They knew we would be here. They knew we would be here, family. Bear with me. We talked to you all about the stem cells. And I made this statement, and I hope I put it down here. Oh, maybe, wait, one second. Maybe it's in this document. Maybe I didn't transfer it. If not, I'll just read it. I should have put this in here. If I didn't, I'll have to remember to. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Leviticus 17. Leviticus
17.
17,
Oh, I didn't know that's what you were looking for. Right.
11. Leviticus, the life of the flesh is in the blood. This is where we start, family.
Right.
Where we start. The word became flesh. So we got to start at the point of the flesh. We know now, see, that we're not confined to the flesh,
Right.
but we're not dualistic
Right.
in our understanding. We know that the flesh corresponds to the spirit, corresponds to
Absolutely.
particular energetic signatures and energetic systems and energetic organs that we have. So to
Absolutely.
ignore it would be profoundly dualistic, and we would be frustrated in our efforts to activate our energy centers fully.
Right.
So we start at the flesh first because the life of the flesh is in the blood.
Mm-hmm.
And I have given you it to you upon the altar to do what? To make atonement for something that is non-physical. It corresponds, family, your soul.
Yes. Yes.
For it is the blood that maketh atonement for the soul. You can't you can't put it to the side. You can't divorce it. Are you all right? Are you all with me? You can't recuse.
Amen.
You can't recuse.
Uh,
You can't put it away. You can't
no, no.
separate it. Why? Because your divinity put it together in the first place.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that's why
Right.
it says what God has put together, let what?
And
No man
man put
put asunder. You're gonna have to divorce duality.
gotta do.
Come on, shows.
Got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
There is life and power in the menstrual blood. You all should have these in your notes when I send them out. Uh, the life and power in the menstrual blood is stem cells. While I'm walking
Right.
you up the ladder, walking you up the ladder now, we top down. Life of the flesh is the blood. The life and power in the blood, the life and power is the blood, is the menstrual blood. Now, see, primarily.
Right.
Remember, we divorced the feminine, the divine feminine.
Right.
The life and the power is in the menstrual blood, is in the stem cells. The life and power and memory in the stem cells is DNA. It's what we call DNA.
Right.
The life and power and memory in the DNA is melanin. The life and power and memory in the melanin is the akasha. Now we're outside of the physical confine.
Yes.
We didn't went from the base, the bottom most dense physical aspect of us, which is flesh, then went to a higher aspect, blood, even higher stem cells, even higher DNA, even higher melanin. Now we're outside the physical, focusing on the energetic aspect of what's called akasha, which is dark energy, dark matter. Are you all with me?
That's essential there.
This is this is from the bottom up. From the bottom
Absolutely.
up. So when we talk about I'm going to put this on pause, family. Hold on. So again, going back to John 1, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God, it was made flesh, the Word was made flesh. The life of the flesh is in the blood. And we went through that whole process now, uh, tracing the power, the life, the memory of the blood up through our physiology, our human physiology, and out through into the non-material realm. So that gives us the basic roadmap to ascension. And this is what we were talking about a few classes ago. And we want to familiarize ourselves with this process. And the way that we can do that, the way that we do that rather, is to familiarize ourselves with these symbols, that which is the language of our ancestor. It is actually that that holistic word, Nasi, that holistic logos that existed before the creation.
Yeah.
That holistic word, that
Mm-hmm.
divine word that existed before creation and actually caused the creation. In the beginning
Yeah.
was the word. Are we all on the same page, family?
Yeah.
So Nasi touched on a number of things. He talked about this neutrality, and we're going to be uh, focusing on this. This is, look, it is central to our ascension, to our ascension. And we're going to focus on that going forward, and especially today. I'm going to show you the process of how to achieve this state of neutrality, especially as it relates to the creative process. And again, we're in the flesh, so we have to utilize, family. It makes sense that we would utilize those energetic centers. Look, the pudendum, which correspond to the creative energetic centers. Are you all with me?
Yes.
It makes
Yes.
sense that we would use these things, that we would utilize this. We, and again, we've only thought as it related to reproduction in terms of um, creating children, creating offspring, creating babies. But there's an energetic aspect, Nasi, that underlies that. This is what um, in Messiah and the End of the World, page 92, Abba was trying to get us to realize not just the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law,
Right.
the
Right.
energetic aspect of creation,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So these are the things that we are going to walk through today. It says in Tantra, you are to remain unattached, even while using sex as a means to go toward samadhi. You have to remain unattached to sex. This is what the essence of being in the world, but not of the world.
Mm-hmm.
The essence of what we just read, pleasing God in the flesh, but
Right.
not through the flesh. All right. If you think of these things, if you think of God as being external, you're gonna be confused a long time on what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if you think if you've reached the point where you realize that you're God, then everything that I'm saying makes total sense to you, and you get it. So you have to remain unattached to sex even while you're having it. Non-attached. Absolutely what? Neutral. This might seem hard or difficult. It's a skill, family. It's a skill, but one that you will never learn under dualism.
Right.
Absolutely like an observer. Now, see, we touched on this before. A witness, just like a scientist working in his lab or her lab.
Right.
So this is
Right.
what, it's an alchemical process. Our disillusion, family, our disillusion was an alchemical process.
Yes.
So our solution must be what? An alchemical process.
Yeah. Right.
So we're going to introduce another symbol today. Um, we've already talked to you all about drawing the bow and shooting the arrow,
Mm-hmm.
skillfully commanding, directing, casting the divine power of the Yoni, the divine feminine power. So in order to, we got to be reconciled, Nasi,
Yeah.
with the divine feminine within
Got
Yes.
to be
us.
where the
Absolutely.
problem is. Right.
So we're talking about this step-by-step process. Now we went through it. I'm not going to go back through it today. I'm going to introduce this new aspect to it. Then I'll come back, family. All right? I'll come back and integrate it all together in a process. We're doing it step by step. I'm giving it to you literally in bite-sized pieces. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know that this bow is central, and if you look, it's the one half, Nasi, of the vesica piscis or the yoni.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put them together, you have this shape,
Right.
and if it's cut in half, you have the two halves or the bow. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
First Chronicles 12, 1 and 2. Now these are they that came to David to Ziklag, while he kept himself close, because Saul the son of Kish. And they were among the mighty men, the helpers of the war. They were armed with bows. Now see, they had full control of the
Right.
corpus callosum because they could use
Right.
both the right hand and the left hand,
Yes.
Right.
stones and shooting arrows out of a bow. It's talking about individuals that have reached that neutral position.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very important that we get that. This is the starting point of ascension. So I'm going to show you all how our ancestors hid this aspect of neutrality in symbols. All right?
Yes.
It's one that you probably wouldn't ever think about because this is how they are. They hid it well. They knew us. They knew us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Had this, we had this tendency toward wholeness, family. This tendency to reunite. This tendency, powerful, powerful tendency to want to come back into wholeness. So they
Mm-hmm.
have to hide these things thoroughly. So we have to attain this absolute neutral position, right? Psalms 55. Now remember, We saw these double fives before, did we not?
Right.
Yeah.
We saw those double fives before. Now the fifth element again is ether. The fifth element is ether. The fifth element is plasma that relates to the blood, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
higher, the ether is um, a higher frequency of fire, and the plasma is a higher frequency of the blood, right?
Right. Right.
So now
What verse is that? 55 and what?
I'm getting ready to show you. I'm glad you reminded me. 6 and 7. I had not put that down there as of yet. So it says, and I said, oh, that I had wings like a dove. Now, you know that the dove is the word Yona in Hebrew. So right away,
Mm-hmm.
it's referring to the Yoni, all right?
Right.
Divine
Mm-hmm.
feminine power. And it's talking about wings. It's talking about the wings, okay? And when we talk about the cherubim, all of them had 4 wings, right?
Right.
Yes.
For then I would fly away and what? Be at rest. Be at rest. That is samadhi, family. When I mentioned samadhi, all right?
Mm-hmm.
That's being at rest. That is the Sheva. Sheva, all right? Shabbat,
Right. Right.
all right? This neutral position, Nasik, allows us to rest. Why? Because
Yeah.
we're not
Mm-hmm.
dancing between two opinions.
There you
Yes.
go.
We're
There
not
you go.
dancing. We don't have to switch back and forth
There
from
you
the left,
go.
from yin to yang. We can be at rest. Lo, then I would wander off and remained in the wilderness. And they use this word Selah. Right? Write the word Selah down. Selah. Then write the word Salah. Then write the word Shallah. They clever now, see.
Yeah.
Now remember, we talked about this before that the that the in the New Testament narrative, the moment of separation came when Yeshua started speaking about himself in terms of the bread of heaven, right?
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, you just walk with me, family. Walk with me now.
Right.
So I'll get to that later. They ask, this is Psalms 105 and 40. They ask, and he brought quail. Who asked? That's the children of Israel. And he brought quail at their request and satisfied them with what? The bread of heaven. Now you got
Right.
to ask yourself, were the quail the bread of heaven, or was the manna the bread of heaven? See,
Mm-hmm.
holistically, you're going to try to say, answer one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
holistically, follow me, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show you. Remember, Yeshua, when he talked about this, he said, this is a hard saying. He said,
That's that's the 6th chapter of St. John.
that's correct. Thank you. I got no, I
Mhm.
had it in there. John 6. Let's go to that. I'm taking my time, family, and walking you all through this.
Walk us on through.
Remember, John 6:26 to 66, especially verse 66. From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked with him no more. When he started, family, talking about the fact that he was the bread of heaven,
Right.
that his body was the bread, that his blood later on was the wine, was the fruit of the vine, and they would have to eat his flesh and drink his blood, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the traditionalists had problems with that. You know why? They were dualistic.
Yes.
They were dualistic. All right. So in Psalms 105 and 40, it says, they asked, and he brought quail and satisfied with them with the bread of heaven. Now remember, according to the narrative, now see, it was the quail that they asked for first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Then they asked for well, that what was provided to them was the bread of heaven, the quail. I mean, the bread of heaven, the manna, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they got tired of eating the manna and wanted the quail, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Then they wanted what? Water. Water from the rock. All of this is connected. All of it is connected, family. Be patient with yourself. So, achieving this neutral position of being the observer or the witness or the scientist in the lab has to do with this symbol of the quail. Follow me. Becoming the quail, achieving non-attachment, neutrality in lovemaking. That is the dynamic, energetic, physical, sexual union or marriage. Sexual
Mm-hmm.
union or marriage. Remember, repudiate, bill of
Yes.
divorcement. The feminine energy was what? Cast out, kicked out,
Mm-hmm.
kicked to the curb.
Yes.
We have to bring it back into the fold if we want to ascend. This is already they tied up our instructions in all of this in
Right.
symbols. Now, see, that is the holistic language.
Yes, it
Mm-hmm.
is.
Mm-hmm.
If you have holistic perception, holistic thought, holistic vision, you're viewing this through your third eye.
Yes.
So we see the quail. Uh, Coincidentally, not so coincidentally, quail was a delicacy in Egypt. It was one of the top meals, just like chicken, same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And family, they say salted quail, but it's really, when you look at that word, it's seasoned chicken, herb,
Mm-hmm.
herbs and spices,
Mm-hmm.
flour, and hot oil. So, hey, y'all laughing? Go back and look at it in the scripture. I don't
Mm-hmm.
look at it. So quail was a delicacy. It was the bread of heaven in the culture, literally. Follow me now. And it came to pass, this is Exodus 16 and 13, that at even, this is at night, the quails came up and covered the camp. And in the morning, the dew lay round about the host. This is charged, pregnant language. When you in the church, the body of Christ is called what? The host, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
When they
Yes.
give you that little wafer or that little cracker,
Mm-hmm.
take, eat, this is my body. So this thing is ancient. We've never understood it. Now, see,
Mm-hmm.
we've never understood. We just say, oh, well, the Roman Catholics do that, the Christians do it. We never try to understand it in terms of dualism. I mean, in terms of holism. Everything
Right.
is connected. Everything is connected. Exodus 16 and 14. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness. Now, see, just like the face of the deep, the face of the wilderness, there lay a small, round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground. Now, we know that that was the manna, but the
Mm.
quails came first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Follow me. Numbers 11 and 9. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. The dew fell first. It was moisture first.
Yes.
And then the bread of heaven produced itself first. But the quails were first. Neutrality is first. Deuteronomy 32 and 2. My doctrine shall drop as the rain. My speech shall what? Distill as the dew. Come together as one, now see,
Yeah.
as the small rain upon the tender herb. All of this powerful language. The word quail is the word salab. Remember, I told you to write down the word salab.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This is
Mm-hmm.
salav with the vav at the end, meaning that it is going to connect to something greater. Salav, salav, by orthographical variation through the idea of sluggishness. Slow down, relax,
Yes.
take a neutral position, calm
Mm-hmm.
down. The quail collectively, as slow in flight from its weight, quails. It's from the root word family, shalah, to be at rest,
Yes.
also to prosper,
Mm-hmm.
quiet, to be at ease, to in the union, in the physical union, look, of masculine and feminine, of the man and the woman, you must remain unattached. Calm down.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about switching through breathing, through deep breathing from the sympathetic system to the parasympathetic nervous system, even while using sex as a means to go towards samdhi, rest, ultimate rest, after the judgment, Nasi, because it's purpose, time, and judgment.
Mm-hmm.
We have to mirror this in the physical. We have to align ourselves with that creative process in the physical. You have to remain unattached to sex, absolutely neutral. That is this word shala, to be at rest, to be at ease, to be tranquil. Follow me. secure, or successful. And it leads to financial security, family. It
Yes.
leads to emotional security.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, when you look at the word shalom, and I will put it up there, it is wholeness in every aspect of your life.
Yes.
This word shalah is related to um, the word shalom as well. So look now, remember the bow and arrow. The bow and arrow now. This is how the Egyptians depicted it. King Tut, anybody ever heard of him?
Can.
He's a real individual.
Absolutely.
Pictures describing his love of hunting. In this papyrus painting, we see him on his chair and using his bow to hunt birds. They loved quail, seasoned quail. It was a delicacy, one of the top delicacies in Egypt. Follow me, family. We can also see his wife,
Mm-hmm.
Ankesenanum, in front of him, giving him the arrows and helping him find the birds in the lotus flowers. They wasn't doing no hunting outside. They was making love.
Love. Yes. Can shows.
And she was assisting him
Yes.
in knowing her
Yes.
and how to direct that feminine energy. Follow me now. Follow me. This is very, very important symbolism. Our knowledge and instructions are tied up into that. This is Kamadeva, the Hindu god of love and sexuality. Love and sexuality. Do y'all see what he's doing?
Mm-hmm.
What is he riding?
Look like a quail.
It's a quail in one picture, it's a parrot in the other picture. I'm going to show you. See, holism, you see all of the similarities and you find meaning in apparent differences. In apparent differences.
Right.
You all with me?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the Hindu god of love and sexuality. He's seated on top of a quail or a parrot. Doesn't matter. It don't matter if it was a goose. Don't matter if it's a duck. It's something with wings. Are you all with me?
Yes.
And you see him with his bow and arrow. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then, in this picture, you see 1, 2, 3, 4 women
Yes.
posed in the position and combined to be the bird.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that I had wings. I would fly away and be at rest. Are y'all with me?
Can.
Remember, the cherubim were described as having 4 faces, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the same symbolism. I'm laying this out for you now. I just want you all to follow me. And you see the one woman here with her hands at the top of the bird's beak and at the bottom of the bird's beak,
Yes.
almost looking like she's getting ready to speak through the bird's mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine her speaking and moving the mouth up and down?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't remember me telling you about the broadcast. That broad getting ready to throw something out there. Y'all remember me telling y'all about the broadcast? Y'all, you either do or you don't. Broadcast. Broadcast. In this process, family, it is the woman that speaks the intent. That focuses on the intent. That broadcasts the intent as her sexual energy is being elevated by the man in the act of sexual union. Do y'all remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Do we? I'm going to pause here and ask if we understand the process. If we understand the process at this point. All right, moving on as we close. I want us to see the symbolism, all right, of Kama Deva. Kama, that is the male in this situation. There's always a female counterpart, and we'll get to that. Her name is Rati, all right? There's always a female counterpart. One of the things that I wanted to point out, again, is the four faces of the women combined into this one figure of a parrot or a bird or a quail, all right? In this one figure or symbol. And you remember when we read in Ezekiel about the cherubim, that they had these four faces, and that the word cherubim associated with cherubim is a hybrid. And what you're seeing is a hybrid symbolically of four feminine aspects of feminine energy into one, the parrot, the combination of all four being the fifth. Is everyone with me?
Mm-hmm.
Kama is symbolic of sensuous love, wish, desire, longing, sexuality. So your wish is your desire. The desire of your heart is also your purpose, your intent, your will. Am I not correct?
Yes.
Kama is symbolic of sensuous love, wish, desire, longing, sexuality, while Deva or Diva means heavenly or divine, carrying your will, your longing, your desire up into heaven, to your divinity, to your higher self, so that thy kingdom come, thy will be done where? In earth, but it has to be in heaven first, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the process that I'm walking you through. Just follow me. It'll become clear. In the Arthava Veda, Kama is described as desire, not sexual enjoyment. You have to be divorced from that. In a
Mm-hmm.
sense, you have to be non-attached from it, involved in it, but not controlled by it. You
Mm-hmm. Yes.
taking the center position, taking the throne, taking the throne of God, that center position of neutrality. Of course, you're enjoying it, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
not controlling you. You are controlling it to plant your will, to broadcast your will in heaven. Are you all with me?
Can.
Not simply enjoy a sexual moment. Kamadeva is believed to be the son of Vishnu and Lakshmi in the forms of Krishna. When you see the word Krishna, think of the word Christ. All right? It's that Christ energy. And Rukmini. He is often compared to Eros of the Greeks. And listen, Cupid of the Westerners.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see Cupid with the
Mm-hmm.
and with his bow
Yes.
and arrow?
Mm-hmm.
Just follow along. Kamadeva is also believed to be a demigod of the heavenly planets that are responsible for inducing lusty desires. Moving forward, and this is going to get back to the sigil ritual, Malkiel. All right?
Mm-hmm. Can.
All the same thing. In Hindu traditions, for the marriage ceremony itself, the bride's feet, why the bride's feet now? Remember, foot is connected to what? The pudendum, right? The genital organs
Yes.
are often painted with pictures of Sukha, the parrot, Vahana of Kamadeva, often painted with birds, the parrot. This is all pregnant with meaning, and it is profoundly instructive. But be patient with yourself. And all over time, I'm going to connect all this together. Remember, it says in Hindu traditions for the marriage ceremony, remember, repudiate. That meant that the bride was cast off. The divine feminine was given what? A bill of divorcement. A bill of divorcement was cast away, kicked to the curb. We got to
Mm-hmm.
bring that back into the equation, family. The religious rituals addressed to him offer a means of purification and re-entry into the community. Devotion to Kamadeva keeps desire, listen, within the framework of religious tradition. It keeps it within a ritual for creation that is beyond reproductive creation, beyond procreation. Are
Mm-hmm.
you all with me?
Mm-hmm.
Follow me now as we close. Kamadeva also appears in other stories and becomes the object of certain devotional rituals for those seeking health. That's a seed that you can plant in the heavenlies, family.
Yes.
Physical beauty, that is a seed.
Mm-hmm.
Husbands, that is a seed. Wives rather, that is another seed. And sons. In one story, Kamadeva, listen, himself succumbs to physical desire, loses his neutral position rather, becomes attached instead of non-attached. Follow me. And must then worship his lover in order to be released from the passion and its curse. It's an object lesson in there.
Mm-hmm.
An object lesson. Stay non-attached. Stay non-attached. Stay the scientist in the lab. Stay in the position of the observer, of the ruler. Don't become the rule, because you will be ruled over.
Mm-hmm.
This is our current condition right now. The name Kamadeva can be translated as God of love. Deva again means heavenly or divine. Kama means desire, longing. There is an earthly longing and desire for physical union that corresponds to a heavenly desire or longing for the divine masculine to be what? Reunited with the divine feminine, which we divorced ourselves of. Does it make sense?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Kama is also a name used for Agni. We get the word ignite from that. Agni. This is Agni. Is an Indian word meaning fire and connotes the Vedic fire god of Hinduism. He is also the guardian deity of the southeast direction. We'll get into that later. And is typically found in the southeast corners of the Hindu temples. In classic cosmology of Indian religions, Agni, as fire, has been one of the 5 inert, impermanent constituents. Remember, we said that 5th element is what? Plasma and ether.
Yes.
Datus, along with space, akasha, water, jal of Varana, fire, vaya, and the earth. It's those 4 faces
Mm-hmm.
of the cherub, the cherubim in Ezekiel. It's just talking about 5 energetic elements, 5 aspects of the divine masculine and feminine. Are you all with me?
Can.
Other names used in reference, I won't say the names, but the one who ignites, the one without the body, not allowing the body to control him, separated from the body as an observer. Are you all with me?
Mm-hmm.
As a scientist, as a witness, as someone that is non attached. The stalk of passion, the incorporeal, inflamer even of God, intoxicating, that comes from changing the water to wine, correct?
Yes.
Follow me. This is Rati, the feminine aspect. And you see her, and you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces of the feminine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, the one at the head acting as what? The broadcaster.
Yes.
Broadcaster. Sending the intent, the purpose, elevating it, igniting it into heaven, so that the will in heaven, the purpose in heaven, the intent in heaven, the seed planted in heaven, cast into the heaven, will what? Manifest in the physical. Now, before ending, I just want to give you an understanding of how these symbols are all interconnected and how they have changed and evolved through time, through time. In the symbolism of the ancients, these are our ancestors. Symbols is their language. It is how you communicate with them. Arrows, listen, were a male symbol associated with both sun gods and fertility gods. The arrows relative to sun gods become the sunbeam or the sun rays.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody with me?
Mm-hmm.
The familiar stylized heart, that is the bow. All right? The familiar stylized heart, that is the bow. I'll show you how the bow becomes the heart. On the other hand, is often viewed as a female symbol, having nothing to do with an actual physiological heart family, and is thus closely linked with fertility. Both of these things are linked with fertility, reproduction, creation, not simply in the physical, but more importantly, in the non physical realm. Although traditions and theories on the origins of various symbols vary, it is no accident that hearts and arrows have come down through the ages, inextricably tied to the eternally youthful fertility god we know as Cupid today. And Cupid is also the baby Jesus in the manger.
Yeah.
All of this is connected.
Mm-hmm.
All of this is connected. This is what I want you all to see. I'm providing you and enabling you to have the capability of seeing things holistically. And our ancestors, again, have used these symbols as something that is essential. So then we get into the term, and we'll visit this tomorrow, cherub, which is going to take us back to Ezekiel, right? The cherubim, the cherubim. Ezekiel, the first chapter. We'll be revisiting that. Powerful information contained. The cherubim, a common feature in ancient Near East mythology, are not to be confused with the round cheeked darlings of the Renaissance iconography.
Right.
Root of the term either means hybrid or by inversion of consonants. Inversion of consonants.
Mm-hmm.
Inversion of consonants.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that have to do with the sigil,
Yes.
brother? Means mount or steed. See, they're shown riding on these. They're shown riding on a hybrid of women made to look like a parrot. And this hybridization, see, it's a hybrid. It's showing us that these things, and see, he's even on a steed or a horse.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, comma, riding the quail or the parrot, the bird. All symbolic, family. And it's all a process that shows us that our ancestors were at the heart of all of this. They're the ones that inverted the consonants. They're the ones that inverted these words.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go into detail. Mount or steed, they are winged beasts. So sometimes you see the horse with the wings on them, correct?
Yes.
You'll see the bull with the wings on it, right? All the same symbol. The meaning a beautiful child didn't come till that critical period in the 17 and 1800s, family. So Cupid is the same as Kama. So we look at it, how it's developed over time. First, Kama and Rati, male and feminine energies, were shown on the parrot or the quail or riding on it. You see the central figure, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
they showed Kama and Rati in all five of her elements. That's the four combined, right?
Mm-hmm.
The highest element being etheric, talking about the ability to carry the intent from the physical realms and raise it to what? The etheric realm. These are the images that we're used to seeing. The Cupid. We're not even used to
Mm-hmm.
seeing Cupid, but Cupid with the wings, the male and the female, is just Kama and Rati. Not on the not on the bird anymore, on top of the bird anymore, but the bird being a hybrid within the image. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then at one point, it wasn't the female image disappeared, and it was just the little boy carib or Cupid
Right.
with the wings and the bow and arrow, but it's the same symbolism. And you see this one here, the little boy drinking the wine
Mm-hmm.
and then urinating it out onto the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the wine vessel here,
Yes.
the wine coming out into the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all see the vine,
Yes.
the grapes on top of it. See, that's the Christ character.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Yes.
baby Jesus. It's Bacchus. All right. Turning that has turned the water into wine and is turning the wine back into what? Water again, urine.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to lay those symbols out. And tomorrow and in the subsequent classes, because we have an understanding, or because we even recognize these symbols, it's going to lead us into higher understandings of how to actually apply this process into creating family exactly what we want, to manifest our will that is in the heavenlies, to manifesting our desire, our will, our intent, our purpose in the physical, in the physical. So we'll be doing a couple of more parts to this: drawing the bow and shooting the arrow, skillfully commanding, directing, casting, or
Mm-hmm.
broadcasting the
Mm-hmm.
divine power of the Yoni, the divine feminine energy. So we're going to stop right here, ask if there are any questions or comments.